A garden is like a blank canvas on which we paint our ideas. And the idea for this video came about when we realized the amount of orchids and bromeliads we had just scattered around the garden, not making an impact. So we decided to put it together in a picture. Keep watching and you'll see how it all evolves. Welcome back to the Calyx Growing Things Garden. In this video, we will take you through the stages as we create our orchid and bromeliad beds. We will cover site selection, bed preparation, preliminary placement of plants, and final placement of plants. We selected 2 areas of the front garden running along the upper side of an existing retaining wall. The beds are approximately 2 feet wide by 15 feet long. We use concrete curb blocks as the outer border of the beds. This provides a good barrier between the beds and the lawn. The lower of the 2 beds benefits from partial shade from a grapefruit tree, while the other bed gets full sunlight up to mid-afternoon. We excavated the area to a depth of 6 to 8 inches and removed the topsoil. We refilled the excavated areas, first with a layer of washed river stones, followed by alternating layers of charcoal, then compost, and finished with a top layer of stones. In the absence of driftwood, we installed this segment of a branch we had pruned from our poor man's orchid tree because we think it looks like a reindeer, and we subsequently dressed it with some miniature bromeliads. We then planted a medium-sized foxtail palm to balance the reindeer and to give some height to the bed. In the lower bed, we installed a section of the trunk taken from the same poor man's orchid tree, but this one we did it in an upright position so that we can attach orchids to it. After this, we prepared it in the same manner as we did in the first one, with alternating layers of stone, charcoal, compost, topped with stones. After we completed the preparation of both beds, we then turned our attention to how best to position the orchids and bromeliads to create the best visual effects. We laid out our collection of plants on the surface of the beds to get a feel for what we could place where. Our collection consists of 5 types of orchids, 5 types of bromeliads, and 8 small pots of wax begonias for color. We were careful not to place the plants too closely, leaving sufficient space to allow each plant the space it needs as it grows. We've completed the laying out of the plants. We've done quite a bit of juggling in order to get to this stage, and that's what we recommend you do, and that's what experts do. No one comes up with a design just off the bat like that. So what we do now is just take you through, explain the reasons why some plants are placed where they are, bearing in mind that these 2 long beds are in the middle of the front garden. We had to lay out the plants so that they will look equally attractive from both sides. There are 2 focal points. Each of the bed has a focal point. And in this case, we call this little reindeer. And we have decorated it with the bromeliads as well as some epidendrum orchids and the Vanda orchids. When they bloom, the story will change. Either the reindeer is carrying a load or he's being prettied up, but you get the idea. The focal point in this bed is this lovely tree trunk, and Don has very creatively attached them with some wire baskets. This is Oncidium, a nice orangish yellow, and they're in spike, so it shouldn't be too long before this would be showered with Oncidium blooms. And notice also as a focal point at the base, this bromeliad with its interesting colors, flanked by two other bromeliads, different colors, would also assist in bringing your focus onto this lovely, lovely tree statement. So I'll point out some of the plants that we have chosen for this bed. The first one you're looking at is a Cymbidium orchid. It blooms a really nice yellow. It has bloomed here before, and we'll show you that bloom on the screen. This collection of Dendrobium, I'm trying with it. They are plants that, do need more attention, but I see this bloom coming up. It's a nice white. So shortly that we'll be putting on a show. Collection of bromeliads, and we're going to save a discussion of bromeliads for a separate video because they're really an interesting group of plants. In terms of orchids, we have about 7 or so sun vandas. Again, different plants were selected so that they will bloom at different times of the year. It's a moving palette, so you are going to be looking forward to what is going to be blooming next. The begonias you see there are temporary. We do know that they probably will last, looking their best, for about 6 months or so, and we're going to be sinking them into the bed. Another Cymbidium, and in terms of design, we try to balance. We have a Cymbidium on one end and one on the other. This big basket of epidendrums. At this point in time, the plants are in pots, in individual pots in a bigger pot. This is interesting. It's an older plant, but because it is in its full color stage, makes a nice statement at this point. What we're likely to do is to attach that on a stake in due course. What we call now the long bed, again flanked by a Cymbidium, more sun vandas, epi. So you see the repetition that gives you the sense that the two beds are linked, but there's special features in each that will distinguish them. This is a lovely sun vanda. It was already acclimatized. An epi, this epidendrum is a nice yellow bloom. The vandas are different colors, and we'll wait to see what colors they are. Ending, bringing up this lovely large bromeliad is making a statement at the beginning of this bed. It says, hey, I am here. Look at the rest of them down there. Both beds have now been completed with all of the plants set in their final position. Here's what they look like. This is an example of how a garden evolves, isn't it? We started out with a relatively small bed of a combination of anthurium, bromeliads, and orchids. And within a space of 9 months or so, they all grew so well that we had to find space for each of them. And the bromeliads, the orchids, they really do make quite a statement when they are in full bloom. So we selected this area to focus on them. They really deserve it. It's now the centerpiece in our front garden, and we're happy that you came along with us on the journey, and we'll keep you advised of the progress. We enjoyed this new phase of our front garden expansion. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. That way you will get a notification of all of our videos, including the next update on this interesting display of a combination of orchids and bromeliads. As we take one last look, this is Thelma saying bye-bye.